were to give one message to the Oldham people in Oldham, what would that be?
I was panicking, how am I going to get 4,500 letters out?
So how will the Green Party tackle this growing crisis in public services courts?
And I kicked it out of his hand, and I was like, I watched the video and I was like, I didn't even know I could do that.
Welcome everyone to our second podcast. I have a very special guest with me today who has done absolutely heroic work in his community and who is now Deputy Leader of the Green Party. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Right, you have an amazing journey to share, from joining Green Party to becoming a councillor and now Deputy Leader of the third largest party in the UK. Could you please tell us how you got here?
I mean, the journey has been absolutely amazing. Do you know, the trajectory that the party's on at the moment is just phenomenal. I'm just feeling so inspired. Mm-hmm. But initially I came, so I joined the Green Party in 2020, and I sat dormant like a lot of members do, just waiting for something to happen. And then in 2022, I turned up at a members meeting, hoping to meet some hippies who will talk about gardening. You know, I like to grow vegetables, so I thought I'd find some people who'd talk about growing vegetables and that sort of thing, and planting some trees and permaculture. And what I ended up with was people who were actually trying to do something politically. And that particular meeting, it was candidate selection night for paper candidates.
Wow.
And they were looking for paper candidates. And they asked me to be a paper candidate in a really far off ward. And I was like, look, that ward's got no connection to me. If you want to use my name, then use it in Gipton and Harehills, the ward that I grew up in, or round here, the ward that I currently live in. Because just my name alone will get you a few votes. And the Roundhay person, he was like, well, I want to campaign in Roundhay, so I want to keep that one. And the Gipton Harehills paper candidate was like, you can have that, it doesn't mean anything to me. I'll swap with you. And so the first time, I got my name on a ballot, and within a few weeks before the election, I was like, okay, now I'm on the ballot. I've got itchy fingers, I want to do something, I want to go out and campaign. So I bugged the party to help me with some leaflets, and they put me in contact, and we got the leaflets printed and designed. And I went out and did I think 10,000 leaflets. And within a matter of a few weeks before the election, we'd gone from getting maybe 200 or 300 votes to getting over 1,000.
Wow.
And that was the first time anyone in Gipton and Harehills, other than as a runner-up, had got more than 1,000 votes for about 20 years. It's so strongly dominated by Labour.
Wow, that's brilliant.
And that just gave us the opportunity and the impetus to really do something. So my campaign was a 3-year campaign. So 2022 got 1,000 votes. 2023 I got 1,500 votes, so close to. And then 2024 was the breakthrough year, and everything just seemed to fall in place right, Joe. And it was just an absolutely phenomenal campaign. Really. We were really good on our data management. So, who was going to vote for us? Where we're going to get our votes from? Which house? Which person? How many votes are where? We were really good at mapping that. But people saw the buzz around the campaign. So it was the community that got me elected. The community who actually came out and campaigned, because I wasn't a target ward.
No.
And because I wasn't a target ward, we didn't get people from the party coming out and campaigning. So, but it was the people within the ward itself that they did all the work. There was one night I was panicking because it was a couple of days before postal ballots went out, and I had 6,000 postal vote letters to deliver. I delivered about 1,500, and it was probably the day before postal ballots arrived, and I was panicking, how am I going to get 4,500 letters out? So I just put a WhatsApp message out just saying I'm struggling a little bit to some of my friends. And within a few minutes, a message had gone around to pretty much everyone in the community. Mothin needs help. Mothin needs help. He's here. He needs help. And in what I thought would take us a couple of weeks, it took us a couple of hours. In one night, we got 4,500 postal vote letters out.
That is impressive.
Yeah, I don't know how we did it, so when people ask me how did you win, I just think the people of Gipton and Harehills are the ones who put me where I am.
The community.
And I owe everything to them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's brilliant. And now you're the deputy of the Green Party.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of quite a meteoric rise very quickly. Yeah. So I've gone from councillor, being elected in 2024, to being deputy leader. But wherever I've gone, I've always found a lot of love from them, from ordinary members, from the membership, and that's just proved itself. The support that I got in the election, and people that I've never even met before, messaging me to say, "Oh, I've voted for you," or when I've met them again, "I've voted for you because I saw you do this thing in Harehills," and really inspired. And it's that, there's one thing when we teach campaigning, is people vote for people.
Yeah.
So as long as you can make sure that people can connect with you on a human level, and they can understand you on a human level, they'll always have that connection.
No, absolutely, that's amazing, bhai. That's really amazing, and it's an amazing feat. But it's also a huge responsibility, right? So how has your last few weeks or few months been for you?
In a word, tiring. I'm running around everywhere at the moment. So so today I'm in Oldham. Tomorrow I'm back in Gipton Harehills. Tuesday I'm in London. Wednesday I'm going to be marshalling because it's bonfire night. We're going to be marshalling Gipton Harehills again. The weekend I'm in London again, and then I'm up and down the country. I'm a proper northerner, so I've spent most of my life very much in the north.
Right.
And now I'm spending a lot more time in London and seeing and getting to know London. Eyes up. Being northern, we think of the north as being quite deprived or quite neglected, and the industrial part or the financial capital being in London, and that's where all the money is.
Yeah.
But then when you get down to London and you see some of the boroughs, and the divides in the boroughs. So I was in close to Grenfell not so long ago, and you can still see the shell. It's covered up. You can still see the shell, and a minute's walk or a couple of minutes walk, and you're at £10 million houses and stuff like that, and the wealth disparity within boroughs is huge. I was in Newham a couple of weeks ago, and it was I was at this famous estate where it's called the Carpenter's Estate, and what the local council has done. So it's close to the Olympic Village. Lots of investments come in, really posh, swanky. Flats have gone up, but they've been designed in a way that they're 1 and 2 bedroom, so they're not suitable for families.
Right.
And then there's this council estate called the Carpenter's Estate.
Right.
And the council's actively trying to get the residents kicked out of those flats. So they're bringing in Chinese, Russian investors to buy up the flats. And the residents are actually fighting back and just saying, look, we're not moving, we're going to stay where we are. They're offering above market rates to try and get them out so they can move them on, move all the poor people out, redevelop it, posh, swanky flats, and again, make it for people who wouldn't be able to afford it. The people who live there can't afford it, so they're moving out, and it's being gentrified. And that's a story of a lot of inner city areas, and not just in London, but it's happening in Leeds, it's happening across the country, where people who have lived there, grown up there, have a connection to the area, are being moved out so they can bring in people with money. And that's just not something that we should be, it's not a way to build a society.
No, you're absolutely right, but it's like, again, it's the inequality exists within the society, and huge part is the fairly distributed wealth to the community. The idea is for the wealth, it should be, no one should be hoarding it. It should be circulating through the community to develop the community. Yes. I've been noticing you, since you became a councillor, and etc. One of the most notable moments for me was when you become the hero of Harehills. The bravery, the calm you showed to in de-escalating and who are feeling marginalized, and your words were also focused on uplifting the youth and recognizing the heroes who were not recognized in the headline. I think we all can learn from this experience. I sat behind some of the youth on that day when I came, and didn't realize they were the hero who were putting out the fires. And particularly in Oldham now, particularly in Green Party now, lots of youths are joining.
Yeah.
And including Oldham. So I think it's one of the things, like, I personally feel that we should uplift our youth and support them through their journey. So how can we give our youth hope and empower them to take positive action, particularly in difficult circumstances?
That's a big question.
But it is an important one because...
I mean, so we have a responsibility.
Yeah.
We've got to create the space for younger people to feel welcome.
Yeah.
We've got to make sure that they're heard.
Yeah.
And make sure that we provide an atmosphere and an environment where they can blossom. Do you know, where they can really flourish.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, where our youth are our future.
Yes.
Do you know, these are the diamonds that are gonna pave the way.
Yeah.
Right. So we've got to give them as much nourishment and as much nourishing an environment as we can. But they've got to be challenged. You know, they've got to they've got work to do. They've got to, you know, build that resilience, ready to take on the world, because they're going to build this world.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about the number of young people joining the Green Party. I think I can't remember the numbers now, but the last count, I think I saw about 25,000. Young Greens were up to about 25,000. It's fantastic, absolutely amazing, and that number could be underreported.
Yeah.
But it's just so impressive, and they're recognizing that there's hope, and they're the people who we really need to get on board, because they've got the energy, you know, they've got the passion, they've got the drive. So if we can create an environment where we're sharing ideas, we're talking to each other, we're developing ideas, and we're developing younger people to be able to become great leaders, because that's what we need.
That's right. Absolutely, you're right. The youth are the next future generation, and we have a responsibility to make the world in a better place, so they can pass into for them, and they can pass into for their next generation and everything. And that's an amazing idea, and hopefully we can all work together to nurture them and make them a great leader for the next generation. Would you mind to share some of your experience, you know, de-escalating the situation in Harehills?
So, I mean, my wife had gone out to pick the kids up from mosque, and I got a call back saying, look, there's something happening in Harehills. It's going to take me a long time to get home.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to travel all the way around. Like, okay, no problem. I just sat back down. You know, I thought, okay, she's just gonna, you know, turn up when she turns up. Great. And then I got a call from the local police inspector, and he said, "It's all kicking off. We need you down here straight away." I'm like, "What's going on?" And then I start getting WhatsApp messages, and I start seeing videos. So I put my shoes on, and I ran from my house to Harehills. So it's about a mile and a half, and I'm not very fit.
You ran?
Yeah.
Ran that? Wow.
I'm not very fit. So I ran probably the fastest mile I've ever ran in my life. And I got down there, and the scene was absolutely insane. You know, those police cars upside down, people on the street shouting, screaming, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. So I got a debrief from the local inspector. And then what we did was we started getting organised, and we created like a barrier between the crowd and the police. So we stood in front of the barrier trying to calm them down. You know, we stood in front of the people trying to calm them down.
Yeah.
And the police were behind them, and more people started coming in, and it started to go from, there was anger that was contained to anger that was spilling into a little bit of violence.
Yeah.
And at that point, it was, you know, some things were starting to be thrown at police.
Yeah.
And we were still there, but the police were there, you know, they were unprotected, they were without shields, they were without helmets. And they were given the order to, you know, withdraw.
Yeah.
So they withdrew, and as they were withdrawing, that's when everything just went crazy. Everything,
Yeah.
you know, bottles, bricks, everything was being thrown at the police, vans being smashed. I was trying to get the police into the vans, and I just remember the inspector just lifting me up and throwing me into the back of the van, you know, to get me out of there.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm like, what just happened? I was worrying about you, and you just picked me up and threw me into the back of the van. So the police regrouped.
Yeah.
I left them and came back, and then it turned, you know, there was a fire that was lit, and then a bus that was attacked. And so I got onto the bus, got the bus driver off, got him away, and there was two women, one nurse, and I can't remember what the other lady did, but they were absolutely terrified. So me and this other lad, we walked them away from the area. So we just walked them out of the area and showed them where they could get a bus and get to safety. And when I got back, the bus was already on fire. Bus was on fire. There was two fires that were lit. And that's when people TikTok live, Facebook live, so people started flooding in from outside the area. You know, people who had no connection to anything, they were coming in and making the scene even worse.
Yes.
You know, they were bringing in bins and stuff from all over, and just making the whole thing much worse. And I was trying to calm things down so I was there from 6 o'clock. I was trying to reason with people, trying to calm them down. And then it got to quite late on in the evening, where it was, you know, I don't know what happened. There's quite a viral video that's going around where I grab a bin I kicked a bin out of someone's hand. Someone was running to put a bin in a fire, and I kicked it out of his hand. And I was like, I watched the video and I was like, I didn't even know I could do that. Yeah. You know, and then I wrestled a pallet. So I've got a bin in one hand and I'm wrestling a guy with a pallet in another hand, but I think what people needed to see was someone make a stand.
Exactly.
Because as soon as I made that stand, you know, someone pushed me. Someone tried to attack me while I was, you know, taking these things and taking them away. And within a split second, there were these kids who just appeared from nowhere. You know, they were just, I don't know where they came from, but they just appeared and just, you know, formed a shield around me.
Wow.
That's
amazing.
So I just said, all right, boys, you're here now. If we get this fire out, this riot will stop. But if we can't get this fire out, it'll just continue as long as the fire's there. So people started knocking on doors, asking for buckets and washing up. So families came out with the washing up bowls. One guy had this tiny hose pipe, so we got this industrial bin, filled it with water, brought up water in the industrial bin, and we put the fire out with that stuff. You know, taxi drivers started bringing their, you know, every taxi driver has a miniature fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
So taxi drivers turned up with them at fire extinguishers and gave me those.
Wow.
So it was a real community effort to put that fire out. But as soon as we put the fire out, people started to disperse. The police came in and order was restored, but it was done really quickly. Do you know, like you've seen riots in other areas that have gone on for days. Yeah. And this lasted a few hours.
No, wow, that is brilliant. I think, again, like I said, I don't think Yes, anyone can do that thing you don't, stand in front of being in the middle of that ride, and obviously, like you said, the connection you had with your community, that kind of helped as well. The youth seeing you as a leader, and they came, and they wanted to see someone taking a stand so they can help as well. And because no one loves right or anything, but they went to see someone.
I mean, this is the thing about deprived communities. There's a lot of pride in their own communities.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people deeply care for the people that live in and amongst those communities.
Yeah.
And they stick together.
Yeah.
So when there's a problem, they all come together to fix it.
Absolutely.
And that's what I think you came to the City of Belonging event, and
yeah.
That's what you saw there. Was we had about 250 people from the local community, from all kinds of backgrounds, coming together to say, okay, this is enough's enough. We're going to build this, build our area back up.
Yeah. No, absolutely, man. That was amazing. And I don't think I can do it by myself. But that was brilliant.
It was a community effort.
Yeah,
exactly. It was the community that came together.
Yeah.
And that's the amazing thing about communities, is people band together in the worst times.
So when we talk about hope for a fairer and greener future, right? And however, a growing number of councils across England are facing bankruptcy. Oldham Council recently announced a recruitment freeze as a result of 23 million black hole in its finance. And it is understandable that council may be having to make difficult decisions. So how will the Green Party tackle this growing crisis in public services costs, or would we follow the same path when faced with these difficult circumstances?
We've got to see. You've got to look at the way the funding model works for local councils. So local councils are funded from revenue that they generate, but the vast majority of money is generated from revenue that comes from the central government, so in the form of grants. There's only so much local councils can generate. You've got council tax. Yeah. You've got some parking charges. You've got business rates. But you've got the housing rent. Yes. Or council assets that are rented out. So they're your main revenue streams. There might be some small ones. But then the vast majority of it comes from council central government grants. But then often they come with strings. Yeah. So they might give a grant, and that's all got to be spent on social care. Example of Leeds, close to 70% of our council budget is spent on adult social care, so adult children, and previously that hasn't been the case. That has been funded separately, right? Not from the main budget of the council. So automatically you're losing a large chunk of your resources taking care of something that should be provided by the national government. And the council's got to manage all your daily services, maintaining the roads, bins, schools that are in their authority, as well as manage this huge chunk of where the budget is being spent. And unless we change that funding cycle, that funding model, councils are going to face this kind of problem. So we've got to take social care and treat it like the National Health Service. We've got to have a system where the national government takes responsibility for social care. If you look at housing sales, for example, under Right to Buy, the vast majority of that money goes back to central government. It doesn't stay within the local council. So the local council, even if it wanted to, couldn't replace that council house that's been sold. It couldn't go and buy another house, right? To replace it. Yeah. So there's huge restrictions on local councils. So the model has to change from the national government. That's one to have the biggest impact. But there are things that the local council can do.
Right.
We always talk about efficiency savings, but I think we hear about reform and the way they're going to do efficiency savings. They're going to cut EDI and they're going to save loads of money. But councils spend very little on EDI.
Right. Okay.
Councils spend very little on that sort of stuff. So they're not going to make the savings in that way. So unless something drastic happens, we're going to be in very tight spots in local councils. But there are opportunities. There are lots of opportunities. We can always tamper with reserves. We can always so we can always play with reserves. Some of the reserves that the councils hold. There are alternative cuts that can be made in order to make sure that the key services are provided. What a lot of councils have done in the past is they've supplemented their revenue with asset sales.
Yeah.
And but assets are finite. So if you sell off all your silver, sell off the family silver, what have you got left? You can't use that as a funding.
Yeah.
So the national government has to really make a massive change to the way it's behaving. Rishi Sunak famously changed the funding formulas to, instead of previously support the most deprived councils, he changed it to support councils that would be more Tory supporting. And they're things that we have to have equity in our society.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I keep talking about my ward, and I'm a councillor in one of the most deprived wards in Leeds, close to one of the most deprived wards in the country. But right next door to me is a really nice, affluent, wealthy ward. So the work that is involved in my ward and the work involved in that ward are a night and day difference. People are crying over, people are upset because of bins got knocked over.
Yeah.
Here, people are
absolutely
having to deal with drug dealers on street corners. And that takes resource, that takes investment, and we've got to make real changes to make sure that we can tackle that. And that's why I'm really happy to see the Greens polling so high, and we're going to be key players in the next general elections.
No, that's a brilliant, amazing way. And we will get there. As a Green, we will get there. Lastly, my final question would be, what if you were to give one message to the Oldham, people in Oldham, what would that be?
It'd have to be look at the future. For too long, communities like Oldham, communities like Harehills, like my ward, and across a lot of the industrial north we've been diehard Labour supporters. We've been people who are loyal to the Labour movement. But you can be loyal to the Labour movement without being in the Labour Party or supporting the Labour Party. Because the party's moved so far to the right. It's abandoned its socialist principles. It's abandoned its working class principles. The people like Wes Streeting, right? He's come from a working class background. He should understand working class struggles. Yeah. But it's like he behaves just like a Tory would. He's planning on bringing in more privatisation into the NHS and more private funding. So that kind of thing is just not acceptable. The Labour Party is not the party that it used to be, and we can't have that tribal loyalty to the Labour Party anymore. We, as communities, they've got to look out for what is in their best interest. And right now, the party that I'm with, and I'm proud to be part of the Green Party because we're talking a language that will resonate with ordinary people. We're talking about things that will make the material circumstances of people better.
Yeah.
Because I was in a meeting yesterday and they asked me what motivates me, and the people. Do you know, people have to come first.
Yeah.
You know, it can't be corporations, it can't be mega rich people. It has to be ordinary people. They're the ones that matter. You know,
Yeah. Absolutely.
their lives matter just as much as Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk or the likes of the billionaires that we want to quote. The ordinary person on a council seat, that they really matter, and we've got to really make sure that their interests are put above the interests of corporations that will seek to exploit them.
No, absolutely. The people lives, people lives is matter. Obviously, their life is every life is sacred, and we have to help them to grow and nurture them for their future. And yeah, thank you, Mothin bhai. That's bring us to end of our first, very second episode of the Oldham Green Podcast. A big thank you to our Deputy Leader, Mothin Ali, for joining us, sharing his experience, his work and his vision. So we hope you all enjoyed listening and that you will join us for many more conversations about community activism and building a greener future together. Please don't forget to share with your friends, subscribe to our podcast and stay connected. Thank you. Thank you, Mothin bhai.
Thanks very much.